For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Thanks for tuning in on your favorite podcast app today. I'm already stopping. I'm stopping the show right now because let me just place everybody, because I have been in this studio. I have recorded, I'm a radio host as well, right? So when I started hosting my syndicated radio show, I lived with my parents. I lived, at home with mom and dad in the basement. And then I bought my house. And then when I started my own company, we got a building, we got property, we got, So and I'm in the studio here. I have recorded, I don't know how many years of radio and podcast in this very studio, okay? We have generally lights on almost all day. It might not be every single light when we're not taping a show, but we have lights on. But for some reason, it's the start of the show when a light burns out. Now, I'm not talking about, how sometimes like a light will like pop, or there'll be, either like a sizzle or like a, kind of a sound. It's not even that. And all of a sudden, the room gets darker. It just a light goes out, and it's at the start of a show. And if not that anybody will, but I'm just saying, if we go back into our radio archives, somebody, because it happens to me, so I know that it's true, somebody can find me some Top of the Charts and the Open Road radio shows where you will hear me almost at the very start of the show. I used to have, I think it was like a 27-second kind of introduction that I would, welcome people, whatever, at the beginning of the 2-hour show. And I recall vividly, I hear myself saying it, that a light just burnt out. We're just starting the show, and a light just went out in the studio. And I'm not kidding you, it just happened again today. It just, how long do light bulbs last? I thought that a light bulb lasts a very long time. And why I'm saying that is, it's not like we've been in this, studio for 20, 30 some years. It's really been about maybe 15 years or so. It just seems like we're replacing light bulbs a lot. So I'm looking across the room here to my team that's, not paying attention to me through a window, but are we just buying cheap light bulbs? What is happening here? Why am I having to do this in the dark all the time? They don't care. Nobody's going to look into it. But just take my word for it. By the way, when I was hosting the radio shows, a light would burn out at the start of every show. I don't know if it's that. Is it a sign? Is there something? Am I doomed for the next 30 minutes of time-wasting fun here on The Scribble? All right. Now, coming up after that 3-minute ramble, I had a very fun dinner with 2 of my cousins earlier in the week, and I call it a girls' night. We just chat, we gossip, we bitch, we gossip, whatever. And one of my cousins is not recently she ended a marriage, and so she's recently single, though, after dating somebody for a few years following her divorce. And it was very eye-opening because it led to a whole bunch of discussions about dating apps during a certain age, and I was fascinated to hear about it. So I'm going to talk relationships in the next couple of segments, and I hope you'll chime in with your thoughts as well. So it's coming up on The Scribble, and it starts right after this.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. No offense, but are you a little fat when you look in the mirror? How would you like to learn the secret to losing 3 to 5 pounds a week without joining the gym or going through any crazy diets? It's called Body Sculpt RX. For the last 2 decades, we've helped countless people lose thousands of pounds. And now it's your turn. Learn how to lose weight with one simple phone call and no prescription needed. You'll see an amazing difference in a matter of days. Don't believe us? We'll offer you a risk-free money-back guarantee. So, if you're ready to start losing weight, call right now and get a free month's supply with your first order of Body Sculpt RX. Call now. You have nothing to lose but the pounds. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. 800-459-6838. That's 800-459-6838.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble, coming to you from... This could go many different ways. I'm coming to you from a very dark place. I'm in a dark place right now. That's just because the lights are burning out in the studio, and should we call it light bulb gate? Is that... I don't even know. All right, anyway, let's talk relationships. Now, earlier in the week, I got together with two of my cousins. We did a girls' night, and it was a long time coming, because what ends up happening in our family, and then it probably even happens to you with, friends or whoever, where... you might see each other in passing or at a family get-together, and you do the, oh, yeah, give me a call, let's get together, yeah, call me, and then you just don't. There's nothing wrong, it's not like you don't like the people, you just never get around to it. I do a charity event every year. I'm not going to name it, and I'm not going to name the people, but every year, without fail, we do a charity event with a bunch of, kids and whatever, and then, the organizers, the volunteers, and the people behind it do kind of like an after party long after, the kids are all gone. And I do the same thing with the girls there, where it's like, oh, let's do a spa day. Yeah, let's get together. I know full well, I've been doing this for about 7 or 8 years. I know that we are not getting together outside of that charity event. And again, they are hilarious women. I love hanging out with them. We just, I don't know, you're in that moment, right? Because you haven't seen each other. It's nice to hang out. I have no problem with them. I would totally get together, drink, but you just don't think of it, right? Because they're not in your everyday life. You don't, and so with our family, we had, it was a dinner. It was my one of my cousins, her husband retired. And so we had a retirement dinner for him. And that was, I think, the first time that this is my dad's side of the family, this is the first time that that side of the family got together since the shutdowns and everything, right? We couldn't get together. And so I thought, okay, it's great. And again, you do the whole oh yeah, let's get together. You call me. That's what, and that happened with a few, two of them I know that I said that to, and we just never got. Now again, that's also on me too, right? Because I could, oh no, that's not true. I did reach out to one of them. Oh, I did. Karen. And her name is Karen. I'm not doing that in the Karen sense. Her name is actually Karen. Yeah, you said that you were going to call me, and I never heard from you. When did she was going out of town. That was in August that she was going to get back to me. All right. Well, make a note that Karen is on my shit list now. Anyhow, but with two of my cousins, we had said, why don't we haven't done a girls' day. Why, And so we eventually got around to it. We went for drinks on Tuesday. We did a Tuesday evening kind of a thing. And I thought we were going to do dinner for an hour and a half, just something quick. I think it was 5 hours that we were at the restaurant. And we'd ordered food, we had some drinks, we'd paid the bill, and it seemed like we were going to be leaving at one point. And then all of a sudden, one of them had said, something about one of the other relatives. And I was like, that's a bombshell. Hold on a second. I did not. What? And then I had my glass in front of me, and I'm like, what, are we not going? No, we are having another. I've got to hear this story. And so we ended up just having more drinks. And then as we're chatting and laughing and having a good time, one of my cousins, something like an alert or whatever on her watch, had told her it was bedtime or something. And she's like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. And I thought, it's 11 o'clock already? We got there at 6 something, and really? Holy crap. And it was just so much fun to not only just reconnect, but we haven't seen each other in a long time, and we also it was more of a getting to know you kind of a thing. Yes, we're cousins, but really at the end of the day, we only see each other at family get-togethers. And how deep are your conversations at a family get-together, right? You kind of keep things general, you kind of do it surface level. And so this was kind of fun with just the three of us. We did a girls' day and to, have some laughs. And so on the relationship subject, one of the cousins is recently single from, okay, hold on. She's recently single from dating. She divorced several years ago, and since then, dove into the dating app thing. And some of you might remember many months ago, I think it was earlier this year, that I was ambushed on this show. I was handed a phone right at the start. I thought we were talking about something else on the show, and then all of a sudden they're like, here's a phone. I'm like, what? You're gonna try a dating app for the first time ever live on the show, and you're gonna give your reactions, your thoughts, whatever. Because, now this is where I give the disclosures, that my other cousin that was at the dinner, she's been married 30-some years. I've been married for 7, we've been together 7 years, married 5 years, excuse me. And I've never been on a dating app. And the reason being also, too, even prior to the relationship, was that because I've been in the public eye, I've been in the local newspaper, I'm on the radio, I'd always just kind of said, I've always thought, like, that's just weird. It's like, oh, that's that guy in the newspaper. Oh, that's that guy from... So I even when I was single, I just didn't do... I mean, again, more than 7 years ago, dating apps were a thing, but they weren't, like, they weren't... Not, like, everybody was on them. And so anyway, it was fascinating to hear, a 50-some-year-old woman talk about her dating experiences, because she went on about how... The guys are all age appropriate, so it's not like she's, getting together with 20-some-year-olds and they're playing games. So there were guys her own age, which I would have thought that after, they had previous relationships or they had their own divorces, that they might be a little bit more mature to the whole idea of dating. Because, like, I know with one of my aunts, now this is my mom's side of the family, like, I know when my uncle died, and, my aunt they'd been married for 40-some years, that she stayed single for, several years after he died, but then now she's in her 70s. Do you call it a boyfriend? Like, I don't know what the term is at that age. But anyway, a companion, a partner. And their relationship from what we see, obviously, we see one side of it, is just more about having somebody there for you. Like, and I'm sure it's much deeper, obviously, with them, but, between each other. But on the surface, it's like, yeah, you know what? She's got somebody there with her. She's got a man now who's, supporting her and is there for her, and that's great. I don't know that the relationship is going to be based on the same thing that a 20-some-year-old relationship would be. So to have my, 50-some-year-old cousin talk about how she's, guys are playing games, or they'll say that they're not into her, but then, and now you have to remember that this is also one-sided, right? I'm hearing her side. I didn't go and verify this story with the guys, so this is what she's told us. That, they'll go and say after dinner that, like, oh, well, thanks, but I'm not quite sure that it's going to work, or whatever. But they'll still go and try to mouth kiss her, like a full-on, like, kiss on the lips. And she's like, sorry, wait a second, hold on now. You just went and said that, like, it's not a match, but then you want a full-on, like, makeout session when we say goodbye? Like, what's that about? And then she said other people will have, like, sex conversation, what you're into sexually. And she's like, I'm 50-some years old. Like, I don't have time. Like, it's going to be sex, if that's what it's going to be. But we're not, discussing freaky-ass shit, like, right after hello. And that was something that was really interesting, because when they gave me the phone and we did the dating app thing on the show here, that was something that I found really interesting, was that as I scrolled through some of the pages or the profiles, was that people were very quick to, like, post pictures of either they didn't post their faces, they were posting pictures of, like, their chest, their stomach, crotch, so you saw their, like, the bulge in their underwear. And I remember thinking, like, I don't understand the point of that. Is this a hookup kind of a thing? Like, and secondly, okay, so I'm supposed to be impressed that you've got a big dick in your underwear. Like, that's going to make me go and say, hey, let's get together. I don't know a damn thing about you. All I see is basically you and a pair, or somebody, I just see a pair of underwear with a large penis inside. And that's where I find it really weird, because there were so many people that it's like, this is a dating app where I would think the intent is to, have a relationship, right? You get to know somebody, but it was very bizarre. Like, that's your first impression that you're giving people. It didn't make sense to me. Now, again, if that's just par for the course when you're on those things, okay, fine. I just don't get it. Not for me. And so she said that too, where, we've got the two people in their 50s who are, recently single out of marriages, whatever it might be. And she's like, and you're sending me dick pics on, the second day of messaging? Like, is that what? And I thought, that's really weird. So it made me wonder if these guys are actually in their 50s. But again, like, what 20-year-old guy is going to go and say, like, oh yeah, I'm a 50-year-old guy? Probably not many. Now, the 50-year-old guys might go and say that they're 20, but not some 20-year-old trying to impress a 50-year-old woman. You know, maybe. I don't know. Who's to say? That's why you need the gay best friend to chime in on your female relationships. So it was, yeah, and then she went and said that, you know, there was one guy who basically like double booked, that they had gone for dinner, and then he had a 9:30 or whatever the hell time. So, you know, he's meeting her at 6:30, 7 o'clock for dinner, and then has somebody else. So even if it's going well, I got somebody else, I got to back up. I've got somebody. And I just thought, that's also really weird. Now, not that I'm possessive, not that I'm controlling, and that this is actually probably why I would never work on a dating app, is... Not that I would never work. Like, I would never have, not success. I just wouldn't have the patience, really, if I'm being honest. I would need to know that you're not messaging 10 other people. Like, we're not doing this American Idol style. This isn't The Bachelor, where you're going to be communicating with 10 other people, and now I've got to do a song and dance to win your... That's, I think, why these dating shows have really sort of made relationships strange, and probably social media as well, because it's just this endless stream of people that, you know, you can scroll and be impressed by, or be... You know, and that's... I just don't like that. And so to know that this guy, you know, not only is getting together for dinner with me, that he's... So then what's his schedule tomorrow? And the day after that? How many is he lining up on the weekend? So to me, that would be a no. Like, I have no patience with... If it's at the very beginning, getting to know somebody, I would not have an interest in a message at, you know, 9 o'clock in the morning, and then I might hear back from you tonight with, again, like maybe a couple questions, an answer and then a question. And then I'm going to write back to you tomorrow morning. And then you're going to write back tomorrow night. I would lose interest very, very fast. So I'm the type of person who, if I were on one of these apps, I would go and say, you kind of get maybe the initial stuff out of the way. You know, I want to read about you. If you're not going to put a bunch of information, then I'm probably not likely to... I'm not saying I want your life story, but I probably won't, you know, go for it very far. And then I'm very quick to be like, all right, let's do a phone call then. Let's video chat, because I've also seen enough episodes of Catfish. And, you know, Neve from MTV's Catfish has been on the radio and the podcast with me many times. So it's not that I'm skeptical, but it's like, I want to know who you are. And it's not a matter of like to see you and judge you and see if you're hot or not. It's like, I want to see, are you lying to me from the very beginning? Because if you are, we're not even going any further. And you can be the hottest person in the world. And if you lied to me right up from the beginning, no, I won't even trust that. So if you're not interested in speaking on the phone to me or doing a video chat with me, and you insist on like texting back and forth all day, I ain't got time for that. I'm not a fucking teenager or 20-year-old. That's not my... Yeah, no. I need to have talk to me. Let's have a conversation, because I'm not that person who's clutching my phone and waiting and like, did he reply? Did he read the message? Did he reply? No, I'm not doing that. Not doing that at all. And I understand how maybe people are shy, but it's like, if you've already given me your phone number and we're texting, like, talk to me. And I'm a talker, right? I talk for a living. I just, you know, sitting and staring at a screen and interacting that way, that's just no interest to me. That would make me walk away from it. You can't be a grown-up. I'm in my 40s. Like, I would expect that if I'm interacting with like a 20-year-old who just wants to like text, hey, just Snapchat me. I don't even know what the fuck Snapchat. I've never been on Snapchat. So we're in two different worlds then at that point. And it was interesting because my cousin then said, this maybe makes her sound a bit like a hoe, but she had said that there was 1 week, this is going back, she's in a relationship now for 3 months, but back, she said, yeah, I had 5 dates in 1 week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I had a different guy. And that's where I kind of thought, well, this is also weird, because you're demanding the guys kind of focus on you. You were pissed off that this guy, the timing of it being the second date the same night, okay, whatever. But it's like, did he know that you had somebody yesterday and another one tomorrow? Like, that's... So I'm not cool with that. If I know that you're Because it's a competition at that point. I'm not competing. I would never, ever, ever, ever compete. That's not, and you see that on these dating shows, right? Where it's like, oh, I want my time with you. Or you've got to upstage the other people. You've got to win more time. You've got to win. No, I'm not doing that. And if you're expecting me to do that, we are definitely not hitting it off. It's not going to work. Send me an email. Tell me your thoughts. Are you on? I'd like to know, especially if you're in your 50s and a woman. I want to know. I want to hear from the women. Do you have the same kind of situation? Because so this was, like I said, it was Tuesday night we did it. I then kind of messaged back and forth with some Twitter people who I know that I tweet with on Bachelor and Bachelorette nights on ABC. Right, we live tweet the show. And I know that a couple of them have been on dating apps and are kind of doing that thing. And I went and said, like, is this kind of what you've experienced? And one of them I did have a conversation with a while back, a couple years ago. And she actually did kind of say the same thing. She's like, yeah, you find people just like will disappear. And I thought, wow, I expect that out of 20-something-year-olds. I wouldn't expect, 50-year-old men just to disappear off the face of the earth. And that also, too, is a slap in the face. That's, I think, also where I would get discouraged. If it happened to me more than... I would almost say more than once, really. But if that happened to me where like 3 or 4 people just disappeared, then I would go and say, then this whole platform, I don't even necessarily know that it's the guy. That's just not for me. Now, if I was my vindictive 20-year-old self, I might try to go and like track down these guys and find out where they are. I ain't got no time for that. I am not chasing you down. I'm not. Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the day, sorry, they're telling me, have I already blown through more than half the show? We've got to... All right, hold on. All right. Well, I'm going to take a break. We're going to be right back on the Scribble. More relationship chatter right after this.
Listen up, guys. Are you experiencing any of the following? Fatigue, less drive, poor performance? If so, you may be one of the nearly 30 million men in the U.S. today dealing with ED. But did you know you don't have to pay hundreds for a prescription anymore? And you don't have to deal with the hassle of seeing the doctor or the embarrassment of going to the pharmacy for a certain pill. Now with one free call, you can find out how Herbal Virility Max can help you feel like a man again. For over a decade, Herbal Virility Max has helped guys just like you put a smile back on their face with improved performance and drive. Call today and ask about our buy one, get one free offer. Save the money, save the hassles, and get the better blue pill. Dial 800-578-0179. That's 800-578-0179. 800-578-0179.
This statement has not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Are you in bad pain? You know what I mean. Your knees hurt, your shoulder hurts, and your back. Oh my God, your back. They're constantly killing you. And I'm sure you've tried every pain pill or cream available at the drugstore, am I right? Well, here is something you haven't tried. Pain Absolve. Pain Absolve is not available in any drugstore. The only way to get it is by calling today. We're so confident that it will work for you that we offer a free bottle with your purchase, no prescription needed, and best of all, each purchase comes with a money-back guarantee. Call now to find out how you can get Pain Absolve and get rid of your pain. Call 800-319-0582. That's 800-319-0582. 800-319-0582. Call today. 800-319-0582.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
JB here, back on the Scribble. In our final remaining moments, we're almost done the show already. We were talking about relationships, and I just wanted to go on and say that in my early 20s, when I was desperately single, I will fully admit that I was man crazy, but in the sense of I had never had a relationship before, and it was always something that I wanted, and so I was very clingy. And I absolutely was that guy who, you have to remember, this is going back before social media, even before texting, really, that I was neurotically, manically, frantically, whatever word you want to use there, calling the guy because, and every day I was asking, do you want to go for dinner? Hey, what are you doing for lunch tomorrow? Hey, let's get together this weekend. Oh, not this weekend? How about lunch tomorrow? Oh, how about dinner tomorrow? Oh, how about dinner on Wednesday? Oh, how about dinner on Thursday? What about lunch on Friday? To the point where it was like, okay, creepy. And not that I stalked anybody in the sense of like sitting outside his house and watching, but I was definitely, calling. And I would say there was one guy at the very beginning of my male courting that I was living with my parents at the time. I had my own phone line, and I would know that he only had a cell phone on if he wasn't at home. Like I said, this is long before social media, when everybody was addicted to their phones. So when I would call a cell phone first, if that didn't ring and it was off, then I would call his house phone because I knew he was home. And if I knew that he was home, I would call, and I think it was probably about 70 some times. I think he actually told me that one time. 70 something times that I'd called. And again, I would leave those like nasty messages where it's like, you know what, I'm sick of this, whatever. But then I'd call again tomorrow. Then I'd be, And I was in school at the time. I was in college. He worked not too far from the the campus that I was on. And I was so distracted that I would be excusing myself from class. I'd be going, to the bathroom or in the hall or whatever. And again, calling him, saying, what are you doing for lunch today? What are you doing for lunch? And I would go, and because I knew, in the he worked in a very big building with many different offices and companies, but I would like hang out there at lunchtime and just, am I going to see him? Is he going to be with a guy? Who's he with? Why isn't he answering? Oh, he said he had plans. Is he with somebody? I was that possessive, that neurotic, and that controlling. Really, I was that obsessed. I really was, and I can admit that now. But I would have stalked the guy, talking about like dating apps and stuff like that. But now I'm just kind of like, why? He's not interested in me. I can't force him. I can't like guilt him, pressure him, persuade him, strong arm him threaten him into being interested in me. If he's not, he doesn't want, like, why would I waste my time throwing myself at him? That's just, you're better than that. You're Jeremy Bradley. You are better than doing that. So anyway, send me your thoughts live at jbonair.com, live at jbonair.com. It's always interesting to hear, like I said, so we've got my one cousin who was married for 30 some years, who's obviously never been on a dating app, never done the social media dating. And then you've got the one who's recently divorced and on dating apps and, man hungry apparently. And then me, who's just never done it because I just don't have the patience for something like that. So it was fascinating to get kind of the three perspectives and have a conversation that way. So send me an email again, live at jbonair.com.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up the Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley, I just spilled water all over the desk and the keyboard here, and so somebody's like, "You're paying for that," and that's the beauty of being the boss and the owner of the company is I own every fucking thing in this room. Thank you very much. Send me an email, live@jbonair.com, live@jbonair.com. Always awesome hearing from you. I will talk to you same time, same place next week on The Scribble. Bye-bye for now.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some